2020, Mike Tyson's podcast. Hotboxing with Mike Tyson. Famous podcast. Millions of listeners. One guest each week. Athletes, musicians, actors. They talk, life, success, failure. Mike is a good host. He listens, he empathizes, he's candid, honest, talks about his own mistakes, doesn't judge anyone. Today's guest is a young journalist, a social justice activist in his 30s, confident, sharp-tongued. His name is James. The conversation begins. The first 20 minutes are normal. Childhood, careers, boxing, activism. Then James asks something. "Mike, you were in prison, weren't you?" Mike nods. "Yes, 3 years, from 1992 to 1995. James, "For rape." Mike pauses. "Yes, I was charged. I was convicted. I served time." James leans forward. "So you really did it?" The studio tenses up. The crew looks on. This question is dangerous. Mike is calm. "I said I was innocent. I still say I'm innocent. But the court decided. I served time. I paid the price." James smiles. A cold smile. "But you served time for rape. What does that make you?" Mike pauses, waits for more. James continues. "You're a criminal, Mike, a registered sex offender. Isn't that true?" Silence. Complete silence. 5 seconds. But 5 seconds feels like an eternity. The studio is frozen. The cameraman holds his breath. The sound technician is frozen. Everyone is waiting. What will Mike do? What would the old Mike have done? He would have slammed the table. He would have yelled, "Get out of here!" Maybe he would have hit him. But now, Mike breathes, deeply, controlled. His hands tremble slightly. He holds a cigar in his hand. He lets it fall into the ashtray. His eyes are on James. Direct, piercing. James is uncomfortable. He leans back. He wasn't expecting this silence. Mike speaks. His voice is low, very low, but every word is clear. "Yes, I am a criminal." James is surprised. He didn't think he would admit it so easily. Mike continues. "I was in prison for rape. The court decided. I served my time. That's what the records say. So technically, yes, you're right. I am a criminal." He pauses. "But is that really the question you want to ask me?" James is confused. "What do you mean?" Mike leans forward. "You said to me, 'You are a criminal,' as if I didn't know, as if I didn't carry that burden every day, as if society didn't remind me. But I know every day, I know every hour, I am a criminal, on record. But the real question is, am I only that? Am I only that crime? Am I only that judgment? Or am I more than that?" James is silent. Mike continues. "I'm 54 years old. That charge was 28 years ago. I was 24, young, ignorant, angry, lost. Now I'm 54. 28 years have passed. I've changed. I've grown up. I've learned. I've repented. But you still see that 24-year-old Mike. Why? Because the label sticks. Once a criminal, always a criminal. Once a mistake, always a mistake. Society doesn't forgive. Society doesn't forget. Society only remembers. And so do you." James opens his mouth. Mike cuts him off, but his voice is calm. "You're just telling the truth, I understand. But is that the whole truth? What have I done for 28 years? I got treatment. I went to therapy. I changed. I tried to be a good father. I tried to be a good husband. I tried to be a good person. Doesn't that count? I do this podcast. I talk to people. Honestly, openly. I talk about my mistakes. I talk about my regrets. I try to give people hope. I say, if I can change, so can you. But you come along and say, you're a criminal, as if I didn't know. I know, James. I look at myself in the mirror every morning and I know. I'm not perfect. I never will be, but I'm working at it. Every day I work at it, to be better. But is it enough? Is it enough for society? Is it enough for you? James lowers his head. Mike raises his hand. Don't say it. I know what you mean. You want accountability, responsibility. And you're right. I should be responsible. And I am. Every day. But I have a question for you. Have you ever made a mistake? A big mistake. A mistake you still regret years later. And people only remember you for that mistake. They only judge you for that mistake. Has that ever happened to you? James is silent. He doesn't answer. Because the answer is obvious. Yes, everyone has. Mike knows. You've made mistakes. I've made mistakes. The difference is this. My mistake became public. It went to court. It went to jail. No one knows about your mistake. But it's still a mistake. Still regret. Still pain. So what if I came to you and said, "You're a liar. You're a..." He pauses. "You're a criminal." How would you feel? Would it seem fair? Or would you say, "But I've changed. I've grown up. I'm not that person anymore"? James's eyes well up. I'm sorry. Mike smiles. A bitter smile. Don't apologize. You just did what society did. You labeled me. You judged. You boxed me in. He's a criminal. He won't change. But here I am. I've changed. Maybe not perfectly, but I've changed. And you know what the hardest thing is? The hardest thing is forgiving yourself. Even if society doesn't forgive you. Even if people don't forgive you. You have to forgive yourself, because you can't carry it forever. The weight is too much. I carried it for 28 years. I still carry it. But now I know. I'm not just that. I'm more than that. I'm a father, a husband, a friend, a mentor, a human being. Yes, a criminal too, but not just that. And that difference changes everything. Silence. But this time it's different. A respectful silence. James speaks. Micah, I came prepared to ask tough questions, to corner you, but now I understand. You're already cornered, every day, and you're fighting to get out. Mike nods. We're all fighting. You, me, everyone. Some of us fight visibly. Some of ours is hidden, but we're all fighting. The podcast ends. James hugs Mike as he leaves. Thank you. I learned something today. Mike smiles. Me too. I learn from every guest. You reminded me. Labels are powerful, but people are more powerful if they let themselves be. The podcast airs. It goes viral. Millions watch it. The comments roll in. That silence from Mike Tyson. Everyone froze for 5 seconds. That answer. Incredible. But one comment stands out. It's from James. I did a podcast with Mike Tyson today. I told him, "You're a criminal." He was silent for 5 seconds. Then he gave me the most important lesson of my life. People are more than their mistakes. Labels don't define them. Change is possible. I'm sorry, Mike. And thank you. 2024. Mike is on another podcast, someone asks. Mike, that James podcast, that 5-second silence. What were you thinking? Mike laughs. I was thinking, the old me would have blown this table apart right now, but the new me thought, this is an opportunity to teach, for myself, for him, for everyone. Those 5 seconds were the most important 5 seconds of my life, because in those 5 seconds, I decided to let go of my anger, to speak the truth, to open myself up. And you know what happened? That guest, James, came back. He apologized. He learned. He changed. And that's beautiful. Because I didn't just talk. I showed. Change is possible. Forgiveness is possible. Growth is possible. Who are you? Do you have a label? Failure, divorced, unemployed, criminal, sick. And you live with that label. Every day, every hour, people see you with that label. And you see yourself that way too. Mike carried the criminal label for 28 years. He still does. But now he knows. It's just a label. The real you is more than that. Mike made that decision in 5 seconds. Not anger, but truth. Not attack, but teaching. And those 5 seconds impacted millions. Because everyone knows a James. And everyone knows a Mike. The question is, what will you choose in your 5 seconds?